Hey friends, it's Durosai here. Hope you guys are doing well and staying creative. This video is part 2 of my Electribe ER-1 tutorial. So without further ado, let's get started. So in the last video, I talked about how to make a pattern, and I made a pattern from scratch. So if you haven't seen that, go check that video out. I'll put a link in the description or up here. And yeah, so in that I went over the synthesizer parts, the drum parts, the motion sequencer, all that good stuff. And so in this video, I'll be showing you how after you've made a couple patterns, how you can assign those patterns to different steps in this 16-step sequencer, or chain them together to create a song. So here I've created 4 different patterns, D1 through D4, and it's all one big drum groove. I essentially created D1 and then copied it over to each one and made slight variations. So with that, I can create a much longer sequence than the amount of steps that's allotted in just one pattern. So I can either chain those together to create that long sequence, or I can assign those to a different step here and then kind of choose between them as it's playing live. The way I have this set up right now is I have the ER-1 going into Ableton. I just have a kick drum and a bass line in Ableton just to give it some groove so it's not super boring to listen to. And I also have Ableton Echo on the ER-1 just to give it some spaciousness and movement. So let me play you just a little sample of the drum patterns and we'll go from there. Number 2. Number 3. And number 4. Okay, so those are the 4 patterns that I've created. Now, if you want to assign these to one of the 16 steps, you can do that by pressing pattern set and then the step that you want. So in this case, step 1. Now continue to hold pattern set and then set it to whichever pattern you want. So in this case, I'm setting it to D1. So I already had it set there. So let's just say, I'm just going to, for the sake of this, change it to D2. And that's it. Let go. And now when you click pattern set and step 1, it's going to automatically load up D2. So as you can see here, I have D3 assigned to step 3, D4 assigned to step 4, D2 is D2. Now I want step 1 to be D1 again. So boom, boom. So now if I were to play this, it's on D1, and if I want to change to D2, boom. Just hold pattern set, press the pattern, or press the step, and it's going to switch the pattern that you've assigned to it. Simple. So this feature is great for live sets because you can switch between any pattern really quickly, and you can have different patterns saved for like different parts of a track or for different tracks, and kind of go through your live set sequentially if you wanted to do that. So the other thing you can do is song mode, where you chain different patterns together in whatever configuration you want. So to do that, you want to go to song, because this is pattern mode. Now we want to go to song mode. And then we can see here, in song mode, you have like song, tempo, position, and pattern. So in song mode, you can chain up to 256 patterns together. In total, you have 16 songs. That's how much you can store on the internal memory. And so, yeah, each 16 songs can have a 256 pattern chain, which is pretty insane if you think about it. You can literally create an entire song just with song mode. So it's actually quite impressive considering how old this machine is. And so what you want to do is you want to go to position. So this is position 001, like so out of 256. And if you want to set a pattern to that, you want to scroll down to pattern, and you can set it as whatever you want. So here let's just start over. So I'm gonna clear this song. If you want to do that, you press Shift, clear song, and then press clear song again. Clear song is step number 16. So we've reset the song. So now let's go to position. We are on 001, and I want to set that to D1. So we're gonna do a lot of scrolling. Okay, D1. Now to set the next pattern, you want to click this arrow. It's going to say end. So end means it's the end of the sequence. So if you leave it at end, what's going to happen is that's going to play that first pattern, and then that's going to be the end of the song. So my biggest gripe with song mode is that once the song is finished, it just stops. It doesn't like loop again, which for me is kind of a big deal, because I like to have, for example, like in this case, these 4 different drum sequences chained together, and I just want that to loop on forever so I can just play it in the background of my track. But unfortunately it just stops, and I think that's really dumb, but you know, whatever. You just kind of have to if you want like a shorter thing to loop, you're just gonna have to set those patterns to loop within that 256 pattern combo or sequence. So anyway, moving on, or continuing. So it's going to say end now. Instead, you're just going to rotate the dial until you select the pattern you want. So in this case, it's going to be D2. Move to the next one. We're on number 3. Now, if you forget where you are in the pattern or in the song, you can just go back to position, and it's going to show you that we're on position 3. So sometimes, especially if you're doing like a 200 pattern song, you might lose track. So this is a good way to tell you where you are. So now let's go back. Let's go to the 4th one, and all right. Oh, there we go. D4. And now if I click 1, it's going to be end, and that's all I want. I want the pattern to end there. So what I was saying before is that if you want this say this 4 pattern sequence to continue on, you're just gonna have to go back to D1 and then go D2, D3, D4, and then D1, D2. Just keep looping that until you can't anymore. It's not the best, and it's gonna take you a pretty long time. But what to do? All right, so let's play this pattern. So it's starting with D1. Now it should go to D2. Boom, there we go, D2. And D3, and so on and so forth. It's obviously going to go to D4 next. So let's say you're working on a song and you're like 100 patterns in, and then you realize, oh shit, I forgot to insert a pattern at, say, position 65, right? Luckily, you don't have to like delete everything and then start over. You can just insert a pattern at that position. So to do that, you want to press Shift and make sure the beat is stopped when you're doing this. Press Shift, press step 13, which is insert pattern. And now this is going to start flashing, and this is just now you just want to select which position you want to insert a pattern in. So I'm going to pick a position 2. And so what's going to happen is when I insert a pattern into position 2, it's going to copy position 2 and then shift everything forward by 1. So to insert the pattern, just click this again. So now I'm going to have position 2, and position 3 is going to be what position 2 was. And then position 4 is going to be what position 3 was, and so forth, because everything shifted over by 1. And then if you want to change the pattern in the position that you just inserted, you can do it like what I showed you before, which is just go down to pattern and then change it through the dial. So if you'll see here, position 2 is D2, and then position 3 is also D2, because it just copied that over. And then likewise, if you want to delete a pattern, just press Shift, delete pattern, and then now I want to delete position 2. delete, and now it's just gonna delete that, and everything after position 2 is just gonna move back to fill its place. So a really cool feature about song mode is that you can record automation just like in pattern mode, but you got a little bit more features in here where you can actually record you muting and soloing certain parts, and as well as playing the part keys themselves. So to do that, select a position that you want to start recording from. So let's just say in this example, let's just go with position 2, hit record, and then hit play. So let's just say for this, I don't want the clap. Let's just go with that. And I'm gonna do that. So then now, so position 1 shouldn't be affected because I didn't record there. Now position 2's on. And there you go, the clap is gone. So I recorded that mute. And just like in pattern mode, you can also record the automation for these like mod depths, mod speed, decay, all that stuff as well. But only on the part that is selected. Same thing as pattern mode. And now lastly, once you've created your whole song, to save it is the same thing as pattern mode. You want to go to write and then click write again, or if you want to save it to a different song, you can do that just by selecting it through the dial, and then when you select the song, just hit write again, and then boom, it's saved. So that concludes part 2 of this Electribe tutorial. If you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, because you know that helps with the YouTube algorithm, shows this video to more faces. And feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions, want mixing or mastering services, or production help. Message me on Instagram. That's probably the best way to reach me. It's just @durosai. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a good one. Stay creative, my friends. Peace.